When you walk around in your life, hopefully, you learn some shit. And before you learned it, you didn't even know that that shit existed to be learned. Example, don't masturbate at not home. Bad example, actually. You should just kind of know that one, just on your own. Good example, don't masturbate at not home isn't a good example for things that you should need to learn. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, yeah, duh, that's how learning works. But when you think about it, most of us act like we know most things, which is funny because we don't. But we do know an impressive number of things when you think about the fact that we start off knowing none things about anything. Anyways, a thing that I more recently learned is that when you start off knowing none things and then build off of that, you sometimes think some things that are hilariously wrong. So I guess here's some shit I used to think. Disclaimer, this is some deep childhood shit, so most of them are kind of weird. For example, even though I knew about things like automation as a kid, I never really connected that concept to things like stoplights. So for a while, I believed that stoplights were controlled by a conductor, and for some reason, that conductor was always in an underground bunker. Don't know why, that's just how my world worked at the time. Now, it wouldn't have even been a problem that I believed in underground stoplight bunker conductors if I hadn't believed in them for long enough to wonder if they had underground stoplight bunker conductor unions, when the entire situation was explained perfectly by the same technology that brought us the fucking bathroom scale. These next couple are a little bit tricky. When I was young, I hadn't been exposed to a very broadly diverse group of people, so for a while, I believed that Jews weren't real. Now, this was before anyone would think to just Google, "Are Jews real?" which hopefully still isn't a thing that's happened. And it was also before I was old enough to know better. But it's still funny to think about a conversation between two adult humans where one person casually reveals that they're Jewish, and the other person has to cover up the fact that until 5 seconds ago, he didn't think that was a thing. Oh my god, I thought that was something Adam Sandler made up. No, I said Adam Sandler gave up. Like on his career. He's not trying anymore. The weird thing about this one is I don't even know why it exists. I can't imagine anything that I was exposed to that would make me think, oh yeah, Jews aren't real. I think I just saw something in a movie and then filed it under shit I saw in a movie, and I just didn't think to revisit it for an embarrassingly long amount of time. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of that topic before I say something actually offensive, because this one at least starts off a little bit easier. I'm not sure at what point I started reading. I remember learning how to read, and I read normally now, but I'm pretty sure there was a stretch of time where I just sort of skimmed books and picked up whatever words I needed to get a vague, mostly incorrect idea of what was going on. Now, this was especially confusing when I read a book about apartheid. Now, the gist that I got from not quite reading this book and looking at the pictures, yes, it was a book about apartheid with pictures, was that all white people didn't like all black people. And while that was in a way true in South Africa for a little while, I honestly disagreed with it, just on a personal level. I knew plenty of black people that I didn't think of any differently. In a weird way, it was the first time I realized that another source of information could be wrong. And while that can be a healthy mindset, in this case, it wasn't. I just missed most of the book. You know, the more I think about it, the more I realize that the further back you made this video, the more racially weird shit you'd have. Should probably find something a little less polarizing to talk about. I'm gonna go with genitals. It's amazing how long you can have genitals before you learn anything about them. Honestly, I don't think humans have the right to be weirded out by anything ever. Half of us already have to normalize ourselves with this weird-ass dick and ball situation long before any explanation is given. And I can't imagine it's any different for women, because vaginas have all of the crazy cartoonish weirdness of any penis, but instead of just hanging there like a sad elephant, they expand inwardly, potentially forever. And it's crazy how little we have to learn about our own little action Bronsons, because to this day, I, in a textbook sense, know nothing about vaginas. And that's crazy because most men, I feel like, have at some point been curious about the female anatomy in a non-innuendo way, and Google exists. So why aren't we all up to speed here? The only explanation I can think of is that a lot of men are creeped out by their own porn. I should explain that. A lot of guys separate themselves from themselves when they're masturbating. They build this sacred wall between YouPorn and Wikipedia, and if anything crosses over the wall starts to crumble. And if the wall crumbles, then your Facebook friends will all figure out what you're into, and your grandma is a Facebook friend. So it's a proven fact that if you search vagina and don't beat it at some point, your grandma will figure out that you like hentai. That's actually ridiculous when you think about it, so if you're curious about something, just look it up. Be less wrong about some shit. There's so many different parts. It's like a bucket of water balloons. Our school system is failing us.